Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. Trade tables and seat backs are full upright position. I haven't said that in a while. We got tons of leaks from Doctor Who and the new set coming out October 13th. Also, lots of reprints. So, buckle up, Buttercup. Some of those cards you thought were really cool are about to get real cheap. Or hell, maybe more expensive because they're Doctor Who now. Hell, who knows? But, I mean, they're going to be in the collector boxes, right? And the decks, commander decks. Anyway, before we get started, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe. Check me out on Rumble if you don't like YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so please help a fella out. It keeps us sponsor free because God knows OnlyFans really don't want to see me on there because that's just gonna be bad for everybody involved. Also, till we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're gonna have a party, have some giveaways, all that good stuff. So subscribe up and let me know how I'm doing, because I'll listen. Just ask my wife. Anyway, so let's start. We got the new Doctor Who stuff. We're going to start off with our plane chase cards. Fixed point in time. So, Phenomenon. When you encounter a fixed point in time, until your next turn, if a player would planeswalk as a result of rolling the planar die, chaos ensues instead. Then planeswalk away from Phenomenon. So not too bad. I believe this is something to do with one of the Doctor Who companions. Oh, God, my lore is so rusty. I haven't seen this stuff forever. Um, where her death was something that the Doctor couldn't fix. It was a big thing. So I am glad to see this on a card because it was a real major event. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch Doctor Who again. This has really got me nostalgic. Anyway, moving on. Our next plane chase card is Bad Wolf Bay. Planet Earth. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to one target creature. Return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. When chaos ensues, cards can't enter the battlefield from exile this turn. Then planeswalk. Alright. Next one we have TARDIS Bay. I thought that was going to be... I thought when I cut and pasted this it said TARDIS Day. Anyway, it's the Gallifrey plane, which is actually in the TARDIS. Anyway, the first spell you cast during each of your turns with mana value 2 or greater has Cascade. Ooh, baby. When Chaos ensues, gain control of target artifact, then planeswalk. The WoW. So you can purposely just snatch somebody's artifact. That's funny. Give me that Soul Ring. Anyway, moving on. Next, we have Lake Silencio. Hope I pronounced that right. Plane Earth. Still point in time. All spells have split second. God, that's going to be a disaster. That means you can't respond to anything. When chaos ensues, it deals 6 damage to target creature and opponent controls. If the creature don't damage this way, would die this turn, exile it instead. Whew. I mean, this is going to make some very interesting gameplay because you basically can just do whatever you want. Anyway. Next we have Human Time Lord Meta Crisis Phenomenon. So, I don't remember this one. I probably missed this episode out of the 5 billion there are. When you encounter Human Time Lord Meta Crisis, each player chooses 1 or 2 creatures they control. Each player creates a token that's a copy of the first creature they choose, except it's not legendary. Then, each player who chooses a second creature puts a number of +1/+1 counters on the token they created equal to the power of the second creature they choose. Very interesting. Obviously not something you get set up. It's just when it happens, it happens. A lot better for creature decks and be very interesting moving forward. So, moving on. Next we have the Doctor's Childhood Barn. Playing Gallifrey. So creatures in the battlefield tapped. Okay, it's whatever, I guess. When chaos ensues, though, for each opponent, choose up to 1 target non-land permanent that opponent controls. Untap those permanents. They phase out. They can't phase in for as long as the Doctor's Childhood Barn remains face up. When the players planeswalk, those permanents phase in. Ooh, this is all kinds of shenanigans. All right, now let's get into Pompeii. On Earth, when you planeswalk to Pompeii and at the beginning of your upkeep, put an eruption counter on it. Whenever you roll a blank on the planar die, scry 2, then put an eruption counter on Pompeii. When chaos ensues, Pompeii deals damage to each creature and each player equal to the number of eruption counters on it. Each player sacrifices a land, then planeswalk. God, this is so fun. I mean, not really, like this is going to be awful and atrocious, but The shenanigans. Oh, the shenanigans. Anyway. All right, let's look at some actual cards. We'll start with basic lands. Basic lands are okay. I mean, it's half a dozen, 160 other. I do like about the lands is the art's okay, but just the TARDIS lying in the background, as you can see here, inside all these basic lands are really cool. Some of them are easier to see than others. Obviously, here is easy, that's easy, that's easy. This one's right there. It's easy to see if you look. Over here, it's a little harder to see, but it is right up over here, which is kind of weird. It looks like it's above the ground in the swamp. But the lands are pretty cool. If they're foil, it'd be even better. So next, moving on, you can see we have the planes here. Next, we have the Nanogene Conversations. We get into the actual cards. Blue and 3, sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature becomes a copy of that creature till the end of turn, except it's not legendary. We've had several cards like this before, so this is very interesting. Kind of a reprint with a new name, so it'll help give you an extra copy of those cards in those decks in Commander. Aesthetic Beauty. Red and 2 sorcery. Exile top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards until end of turn. Put 4 time counters on each of those cards that has suspend. Interesting. And it suspends for 4. So that's kind of cool. You can suspend this for 1 red, wait 4 turns, and just know that you may have a pretty handy turn coming up where you don't need cards in your hand. And then we have a reprint of As Foretold. Our first reprint we get to see. This has been printed several times. It's just in Wilds of Eldraine. So not a lot of value here, and I'm not sure people even care about this picture. I mean, maybe you do if you're into this guy, or the scene from this particular doctor, what have you. I don't know what the fist in the background is. I don't remember this episode. Anyway, moving on. I just think there's better As Foretold pictures. So, we'll start with the second Doctor. Great picture. Blue, white, and 2 for a 2/4. Players have no maximum hand size. Very cool. And it has also how civil of you. That. At the beginning of your end step, each player may draw a card. Each opponent who does can't attack you or permanents you control during their turn. Very interesting. I don't know if it's be really good as a commander, but will be great in the 99 of a lot of decks. We have Jamie McCrimmon, green and 2 for a 2/2 with trample. Whenever you cast a historic spell, this card gets +X till end of turn, where X is the spell's mana value. Wow, is that something? And of course, he is a Doctor's Companion, so you may also have him in the command zone if you have a Doctor. So, very interesting, very cool. This on turn 3, this on turn 4, for example, just disgusting. Anyhow, then we have the first Doctor even. Blue, white, 1, 2/2. When the first Doctor enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a card named TARDIS. Reveal it, put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle, yada yada yada. Whenever you cast a spell with Cascade, put a +1/+1 counter on target artifact or creature. Wow, is that good? Although it is in blue-white, not the exact colors you're looking for, but hey, whatever. Then we have Susan Foreman, Companion. Green and 1 for a 1/1. If you would Planeswalk, instead look at the top 2 cards of the planar deck. Put one on the bottom of the planar deck, the other on top, then Planeswalk. Very cool. Plus, Mana Dork. And can be a companion. There's nothing cooler than having a Mana Dork in your companion slot. Like, holy cow. This card's going to be really popular in any Doctor deck that plays green. This is just kind of almost a must-have. This seems better than this to me. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So, next we have the fifth Doctor. White. I like how most Doctors are white-blue, except for this one. White-blue and 2 for a 2/2. Peaceful Coexistence. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control that didn't attack or enter the battlefield this turn. Untap those creatures. Interesting. Next, we have another Doctor Companion. We have Tegna Jovanka. I'm probably butchering that name. White and 2 for a 2/2. Has Braveheart. Whenever you attack, target attacking historic creature gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible in a turn. God is that good, especially when it's a Doctor's Companion. Yeah, that's a real good card. I mean, blue-white soldiers is already a thing. It's probably not a thing in Commander, but you could probably work something out here. We have the third Doctor, blue-green and 2 this time. Trample 2/2. The Doctor gets a +1/+1 for each non-creature token you control. Holy cow. When the third Doctor enters the battlefield, you create your choice of a clue, food, or treasure token. This is insanely good. Wow, is this good? I mean, you get mana back or a clue to draw a card. There's a lot going on here that's really great. I like this a lot. Then we also have Joe Grant, Doctor's Companion, white and 2 for a 3/2. Each historic card in your hand has cycling for a white and 2. Wow, is that good? Whenever you cycle a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Joe Grant. Again, Doctor's Companion. This is another solid white card to play in a Doctor's deck if you're doing cycling. Or hell, if you're not doing cycling, because everything has cycling. Who cares? Yeah, this seems really powerful with a lot of deck synergies going on. All right, moving on. Next, we have Clara Oswald, Doctor's Companion. 6 colorless even. Human Advisor, Impossible Girl. If Clara Oswald is your commander, choose a color before the game begins. Oswald is the chosen color. If a triggered ability of a Doctor you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. She's also a companion. So, more good cards for token, doubling season, yada yada decks. Except now you can do it with a Doctor Who kind of bend to it. And being 6 colorless, you can play her in anything. Next, we have Amy Pond, red and 2, Doctor's Companion for 2/2. Partner with Rory Williams. When this creature enters the battlefield, a target player may put Rory into their hand from their library, then shuffle. When Amy Pond deals combat damage to a player, choose a suspend card you own and remove that many time counters from it. Holy cow. Wow, is that good. Clearly this is going to be in a suspend deck, and clearly this thing's going to be busted. Next, we have the Ninth Doctor. I like the Ninth Doctor. I don't think this is the best art for him. It seems a little lacking. But anyway, blue, red, and 1 for a 2/4 with haste. He has Into the TARDIS. Whenever the Ninth Doctor becomes untapped during your untap step, you get an additional upkeep step after this one. Holy what? Yeah, there's lots of things going on here. With suspend cards, you can remove 2 suspend counters. I mean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but like upkeep effects like How and Mine style cards and things like that lets you lose life, gain life, draw extra cards. This is insane. Wow. This is going to make some really crazy decks. Next, we have the 8th Doctor. Art's okay. White, blue, and 4. Wow, he's the most expensive Doctor I think we've seen so far. 4/4. When the 8th Doctor enters the battlefield, you mill 3 cards. Interesting. Once during each of your turns, you may play a historic land or cast a historic permanent spell from your graveyard. If you do, it gains if this permanent would leave the battlefield to exile instead of putting it anywhere else. This is really good. However, the fact that you cannot bounce stuff to your hand and keep it still gets exiled makes it not as good. But I'm sure there is some good shenanigans with this going on. Not to mention, playing from your graveyard 1 card a turn is just bananas. Especially with blue-white. That's just not normally something they do. Yeah, this is going to be a good Doctor as well. I like this card. It's a little expensive, though. All right, next we have Reverse the Polarity. 2 blue and 1. You get to choose one. Counter all other spells. Anybody else hear what I just said? Yeah. Next, you may switch each creature's power and toughness till end of turn, or creatures can't be blocked this turn. This is as close to a cryptic command as you can get, and it's amazing. I mean, it's a counter spell just for 3, regardless. It stops storm decks or any shenanigans going on, because when you cast this, it counters everything. Switching creatures' power and toughness. If you're playing a butt fight deck, most of their power is 0, so you can switch their power and toughness and kill a lot of stuff. Creatures can't be blocked. I mean, that has a less to do in a blue deck than most other decks. But when you pair blue with things like green or red or whatever, it could be very viable. I think this is as close as we're going to get to a new Cryptic Command, and I like it. I think it's really good. Next, we have the War Games. 2 white and 2 for a saga. It's got 4 chapters. Each player creates 3 tapped 1/1 white warrior creature tokens. The tokens are goaded for as long as War Games remains on the battlefield. Okay. 2, put a +1/+1 counter on each warrior creature, so they all get bigger. That happens on 3 as well. And then on 4, you may exile a non-token creature you control. When you do, exile all warriors. Interesting. Not sure how I feel about this. I mean, it seems fine. It's definitely going to make people attack each other and make games go faster, but it's very interesting. I mean, I think it's fine because you can get... Everybody gets 3/3/3s, but as they are goaded to attack, they'll get killed off, so maybe you won't exile them. It's probably okay. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Next, we have an Unearthly Child. 2 blue and 1 for a 3-chapter saga. Reveal the top cards of your library until you reveal a Doctor card. A card with Doctor's Companion, or a vehicle card. Put that card into your hand, the rest on a bottom in a random order. This happens 3 times for 3 mana. This is this is a 3 mana draw 3, but you only draw 1 card basically every turn for 3 turns. With that being said, that is an amazing rate to play this on turn 3, and then just know you're gonna get a powerhouse card every turn, whether you want to play it or not. I think this is going to be insanely good. Another great blue card for 3 mana. Wow. Next, we have the 12th Doctor, red, blue, and 3 for a 4/4. First spell you cast from anywhere other than your hand each turn has Demonstrate. Okay. When you cast that spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. Wow. Whenever you copy a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on the 12th Doctor. So 5 mana 4/4 is good. The ability for the first spell you cast to make him a 5/5 is even better. Yes, your opponent gets to copy it. But you don't have to. So you can only let your opponents copy spells that you want. So say you do Land Search spell, you copy it. This gets a +1/+1 on it. Let your opponent copy it. If they choose to, this gets another +1/+1 counter. They get a land. That's fine. Lots going on here with the 12th Doctor. Tons of cool shenanigans. I like it. Cannot wait to see it in action. All right, moving on. A lot to go over. Next, we have the Knight of the Doctor. 2 white and 4 for a saga. 1, destroy all creatures. 2, return target legendary creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put your choice of first strike, vigilance, or lifelink on it. Amazing white card. It's a 4 mana wrath that gets you something back. In white, this will be in any white deck, period. Highly valuable card. All right, next, the Curse of Fenric. White, green, and 2 saga. 1. For each player, destroy up to 1 target permanent that player controls. For each creature destroyed this way, that controller gets a 3/3 green mutant creature token with Death Touch. Notice it says creature, so you can play this for 4 and blow up anything else that's not a land. Oh wait, no, it says you have to target a creature. Never mind. But still, killing 3 creatures and downgrading them to 3/3s may be on your ticket. Plus, on 2, target non-token creature becomes a 6/6 legendary horror creature named Fenric and loses all abilities. Not bad. 3, target mutant fights another target creature named Fenric. Very interesting. So I kind of wonder, are all the mutants Fenric then? It says a 3/3 green mutant creature token with Death Touch, but the last one says, because the number 2 makes a 6/6 named Fenric. Okay. I got it. Pretty good for green white, not gonna lie. All right, moving on. Trial of the Time Lord. So 2 white and 1 for a 4 chapters. That's not bad. For 1, exile target non-token creature an opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield. Do it 3 times in a row. Then, 4, starting with you, each player votes for innocent or guilty. If guilty gets more votes, the owner of each card exiled with Trial of the Time Lord puts that card on the bottom of their library. An amazing removal card. For 3 white, you can get 3 creatures over time. Absurdly good. Yes, play in every white deck. Next we have the K's of Amadrazian. White and 3 Saga with 4 counters. Put 2 stun counters on each of up to 2 target tapped creatures. That's good. For 2 and 3, for each non-Saga permanent, choose a counter on it. You may put an additional counter of that kind on that permanent. Okay, so for each non-Saga permanent. So you can put more stun counters on stuff. And then 4, search your library for a doctor card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Good tempo card, good for stalling. I think it's got a lot of play. Next we have Crack in Time, white and 3 enchantment, vanishing 3, which means every time on your upkeep, 1 vanishing counter comes off. When it has 0, it goes away. When Crack in Time enters the battlefield at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target creature an opponent controls until Crack in Time leaves. Okay, so you lay it for 4, and every turn it starts taking things away, and then eventually they all come back. So that's pretty cool. Good tempo play. Atraxi Warden, 2 white and 4 for a 6/6 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target tapped creature. I mean, that's fine. Suspends for 2. I mean, yeah, I will on turn 2, I'd suspend this for 5 turns to get a 6/6. And when it comes into play, you get to exile your opponent's thing forever. Yeah, good times. Next we have Heaven Sent, red blue. On 1 and 2, you investigate, so not bad there. On 3, Heaven Sent deals 1 damage to each opponent. If there is an opponent, does 1 damage to each opponent. Then, if an opponent has 0 or less life, draw 7 cards. Otherwise, exile Heaven Sent, and you may cast it this turn. Wow, so this is a card that never goes away. You just cast it over and over, and once you have a dead opponent, you can just draw 7 cards, and then this goes away. This is insanely good for red-blue. Holy cow, Heaven Sent's going to be an expensive card. Wow. I mean, every turn does 1 damage to an opponent, or every 3 turns it does 1 damage to an opponent. Every other turn, you get to make a clue token to draw a card. For a blue and a red, this card is insanely good. This should be a mythic. Holy cow. Next we have Everybody Lives, a white and 1 instant. All creatures gain hexproof and indestructible to end of turn. Players gain hexproof until end of turn. Players can't lose the game this turn, and players can't lose life, and they can't lose the game this turn, or win the game this turn. So this is pretty much Teferi's protection for everybody. And it's 2 mana. This should be a mythic also. This is going to be in every white deck, and going to be a very popular card people are going to want. Holy cow. Wow, it's good. All right, moving on. We have Gallifrey Council Chamber. Finally, a legendary land. When it enters the battlefield, you surveil 1. Taps for colorless, or tap for 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana to cast a Time Lord or alien spell, or activate an ability of a Time Lord and alien. Very good land. Kind of expect to see something like this. It should be in every Doctor deck. Next, we have a reprint of Wedding Ring. Yes, this is a reprint, and yes, it was a mythic before, from Crimson Vow. So we won't really go over that, but a popular card. Lost a lot of value, though, so is what it is. Past in Flames reprint. Very interesting. Like the art on it with all the TARDISes combining and being sucked into one, and Time Lords get it. Anyway, good reprint. Past in Flames ain't worth a whole lot, but if you like the art and you're a Doctor Who fan, this is definitely a card for you, and I'm cool with it. Everything comes to dust. 3 white and 7. It has Convoke, which means you can tap creatures to do it. Exile all creatures except those that share a creature type with a creature that convoked this spell, all artifacts, and all enchantments. Wow. This is a great removal spell for white again, except this one comes in the form of a white creature deck. And it will save its own creatures. So this is another white card that's going to be very popular in any white deck and probably kind of expensive. All right, moving on. Next we have the Day of the Doctor. White, red, and 3. Four-part saga. Exile cards top your library until you exile a legendary card. You may play the card for as long as Day of the Doctor remains on the battlefield. Put the rest exile to bottom random order. On 4, choose up to 3 Doctors. You may exile all of their creatures. If you do, the Day of the Doctor deals 13 damage to you. Wow. So kind of a weird wrath where you take 13, save your creatures, and kill everything else, but a wrath nonetheless. Has its moments, but probably be cool. Next we have the War Doctor, white, red, and 2 for a 3/5. Whenever one or more other permanents phase out, or whenever one or more other cards are put into exile from anywhere, put a time counter on the War Doctor. Whenever the War Doctor attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of time counters on it to any target. If a creature dealt damage this way would die, exile it. Wow. This card is amazing. There's a lot of things that work on exiling cards. There's that red card, just off the top of my head, from D&D that when it attacks, you exile a card, which will activate this and put counters on it. Plus, it puts counters on the other card. Lots going on here. There's already kind of an exile-centric deck that does that kind of stuff, and now it's got a War Doctor kind of theme to it. Pretty cool. Plus, plays well with the Day of the Doctor. Powerful. All right, we got a Soul Ring reprint. I'm sure everybody saw that coming. Next, we have Ominous Cemetery. It's a land, taps for colorless. For 5, you may exile the cemetery. Target creature owner shuffles it into their library. Wow, a land removal. That's pretty cool. Probably going to be this might become a one of in mini decks just because it's a land removal card. Cool. All right, next we have a Star Whale. That is the prettiest Star Whale ever. Anyway, 2 blue and 6 for an 8/8 flying vigilance. Seems good. Other creatures you control have War 2. Okay. Plus it suspends for 6 for a blue and 1. Amazing uncommon. Great card. No qualms. You probably should play it. Next we have the Dalek Emperor. Red, black, 5 for a 6/6 affinity for Daleks, so you can make him out. You can get him out there faster. Other Daleks you control have haste at the beginning of combat on your turn. Each opponent faces a villainous choice. That player sacrifices a creature they control, or you create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace. Wow, does that seem good? Okay. Next we have the Fugitive Doctor. Green, red, and 3 for a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. Okay. Whenever the Fugitive Doctor attacks, you may sacrifice a clue. When you do, target instant sorcerer card from your graveyard gains flashback of green, red, and 2 until end of turn. Powerful, cool shenanigans. Definitely pretty good for green, red. So, yeah, strong card. Next, we have Ryan Sinclair, red and 2 for a 2/2. Whenever he attacks, exile cards from top of your library until you exile a non-land card, another exile card. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. If it's a spell with mana value less than or equal to Ryan's power. Put the exile card not cast this way on the bottom of your library in a random order. Doctor's Companion. So it goes very well with the War Doctor. Plus, if you can pump him up, you can cast stuff for free. Lots of shenanigans here. Great cards. All these cards are really powerful. Probably going to change the commander environment. We have the Pandorica, white and 2. You may choose not to untap the Pandorica during your untap step. For white and 1, untap another target non-land permanent, then it phases out. It can't phase in for as long as Pandora remains tapped. When it becomes untapped or leaves the battlefield, that permanent phases in. Only a sorcery. So it's kind of a lockdown spell that can get rid of something, but you can change it whenever you want. So that's kind of cool. I'll probably white decks probably play that. Next, the Wedding of Riversong. Riversong. I think that was the point in time that can't be fixed. The fixed point in time. Anyway, point being, moving on. Maybe it wasn't. Hell, I can't remember. White and 2 sorcery. Draw 2 cards. White just drawing cards now. Okay. Then you may exile a non-land card from your hand with a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. Then target opponent does the same. Cards exiled this way that don't have suspend gain suspend. Wow, what a card. Time travel for each suspended card you own and each permanent you control with a time counter on it, you may add or remove a time counter. Oh, so you still get the benefits, like you both get to draw 2 cards to suspend something, but then you get to remove stuff off yours and then add stuff to theirs. Still, this is a white card. This is so not right. Anyway. Okay, we have all the screwdrivers are here. The laser screwdriver, 3 colorless, mana rock of any color, plus 1, tap an artifact, 2, tap, surveil 1, 3, tap, go to creature. Not bad, not bad. We have the sonic screwdriver, 3 mana, add a mana of any color. 1, tap, untap another target artifact. 2, tap, scry. 3, tap, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Those two are really close to each other, but just far enough apart. Really cool. I could see people playing both these in the same deck. Very nice. Next we have the Time Beetle. Blue and 1, insect alien, skulk, which means it can't be blocked by creatures of greater power. Parallel universe. Whenever Time Beetle deals combat damage to a player, time travel. Basically remove a counter from your suspend cards. Really cool. Like it. All of history, all at once. 2 blue and 2 sorcery. Time travel. Again, remove suspend cards. But it also has storm. So you can cast this and remove multiple time counters and make suspend things just go crazy. Very nice. We have regenerations restored, blue-white enchantment with vanishing 12. Wow. Obviously, you remove a counter every upkeep until when all the counters gone, the card goes away. Whenever 1 or more time counters are removed from regeneration restored, scry 1 and you gain a life. Okay. Then if regeneration is restored has no time counters on it, exile it. When you do, take an extra turn. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. A new kind of time walk that does a thing plus does other things. Like, this is crazy good. I like this a lot. I mean, it's not really overpowered, but it's a thing. I like this. Next we have Rory Williams. Hey, there's Rory. Wonder where he was. White blue for a 3/3 partner with enemy pawn. First strike lifelink. Wow, that's good. Plus it has the Last Centurion. When you cast this spell from anywhere other than exile it with 3 time counters on it. It gains suspend, then investigate. Oh. So you have okay, so it's 2 blue basically to suspend it for 2 with 3 time counters on it, and you get an investigation token. So not all that great, but still, this is an amazing card. And I'm sure there's some weird shenanigans to get this into play cheaply. So moving on. Next we have Martha Jones. Blue and 2 for a 3/2. Woman who walked the earth. When Martha Jones enters the battlefield, you get to investigate 1. Okay. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, Martha Jones and up to 1 other target creature can't be blocked this turn. Doctor's Companion. That's really good in a clue deck, so not bad. Dinosaurs on a spaceship, because why not? White, red, and 4 for a 7/7 Vigilance Trampler. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1 and gain Vigilance and Trample. You can suspend it for 5, suspend 4 for 5 mana, or just wait 1 turn and play it outright. Whenever a time counter is removed from dinosaurs on a spaceship while it's exiled, create a 2/2 red-white dinosaur creature token with flying and haste. Okay, so this has got a lot going on here. You suspend it to get dinosaurs and then let it come into play, make everything huge, and just go ham. Or you just cast it on 6 and you just have big ham. Great card, lots of options. I'm not sure there's the right way to play this card, but there you have it. All right, next we have Flesh Duplicate. 2 blue, Shapeshifter, 0/0. When it enters the battlefield as a copy of a creature on the battlefield, except it has Vanishing 3, if that creature doesn't have Vanishing. So you only get it for 3 turns, but it is only 2 blue, and you can copy anything. This is going to be a powerhouse card in a lot of combo decks. Next, we have Sibylline Soothsayer, red and 2 for a 3/2, Temporal Foresight. When Sibylline Soothsayer enters the battlefield, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card, mana value 3 or greater. Exile that card with 3 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. Put the rest of the revealed cards in the bottom in a random order. Again, another great way to exile cards to power the other doctors and other cards, along with you may exile something that costs 8 mana with 3 suspend counters and get a hell of a discount because you already get a 3/2 for 3. This is an amazing uncommon. All right, moving on. Next we have Sally Sparrow, white, blue, and 2 for a 2/3. Human Detective. When you cast creature spells as though they had flash, whenever 1 more creature you control leave the battlefield, investigate. Only triggers once each turn. Not too bad. Almost like Doneric. Next we have, that's right, we got 3 spoiled lands of the Sunbaked Canyon, Fiery Islet, Waterlogged Grove from Modern Horizons 2 put in here. Which to me is going to really devalue these cards because Modern Horizons 3 we know is coming out, which will probably also have these cards, which is going to make these cards close to pennies on the dollars, even though they're rares. These are very fastly becoming pain lands, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is. And to be fair, if these are in the commander decks, these are great cards to be in there, so we can't really bitch too much. So, moving on. Next we have Astrid Peth, white and 1 for a 2/2. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may make a food token. Brand New Sky, whenever you sacrifice a clue or food, it explores. That's a really cool card for white. Very powerful. Next we have RMS Titanic, red and 3 for a 7/1 flying trampler. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it and create that many treasure tokens. Crew 3. Very interesting one shot, but hey, what are you going to do? It's the Titanic. Next we have Idris, Soul of the TARDIS, red, blue, and 1 for a 3/3 human incarnation, vanishing 3. Has imprint. When Idris, Soul of the TARDIS, enters the battlefield, exile another artifact you control until this leaves the battlefield. It has all the activated and triggered abilities of the exile card and gets +X/+X, where X is the exile card's mana value. Interesting. Good way to protect your cards. Also a good way to make a big nappy and still have the abilities. So pretty cool. Next we have Trezolor Clock Tower. Legendary land. Taps for a blue. Put a time counter on the clock tower. For a blue and 1, remove 12 time counters from the clock tower. Exile it. Shuffle your graveyard and hand in your library. Then draw 7 cards. Activate only if you control a Time Lord. Very, very nice. This will be going straight in my Brawl deck if this stuff goes to Arena. Any blue deck should have this because, I mean, you have to have a doctor somewhere in your deck, but, I mean, come on. We've seen how powerful the doctors are. Putting one in your 99 is not going to be hard. The ability to activate this and draw 7 cards is just absurd for 2 mana. Because getting the mana and putting the time counter on is just free. Doesn't even come to play on tap. This is a powerhouse. All right, moving on. Next we have a War Room reprint. So that's what it is. We have a new Mind Stone reprint with a picture of a Robot Man head. So that's kind of cool. Lightning Greaves reprint. I mean, can we not do the weird foot thing all the time? Anyway. And then we have the Moment. So 2 colorless legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on the Moment. For 2 and tapping it, untap target creature you control. It faces out until the Moment leaves the battlefield. 3 and tapping, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value less than or equal to the number of time counters on the Moment. Then sacrifice the Moment, activate only as a sorcery. Very interesting way to save your creatures and blow up everything else. It's like a Nevinyrral's Disc on a stick, kind of. Very interesting, or not. I guess more like a Oblivion Stone, probably. Better way to put it. Except your stuff doesn't stay on the battlefield; it actually hides it. So probably gonna see this in some weird Karn decks. Anyway, so we'll move on. Next we have Impending Flux, or red and 2 Paradox. Impending Flux deals X damage to each opponent and each creature they control, where X is 1, plus the number of spells you've cast from anywhere other than your hand this turn. Foretell 3. I mean, if you're doing the exile thing, this will probably work for you. But it seems like a lot of hoops to jump through, so we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it can do a board wipe and deal a lot of damage to your opponent, so I mean, probably something you got to play if you do exile stuff. But you have to, a lot of hoops to jump through to get that to work. Anyway, next we have Ginny, Generated Anomaly. So white, red, and 2, 2/3 Time Lord Soldier with double strike. When Ginny deals combat damage to a player, it explores. This gets out of hand real quick, so cool card is rare. We have Wilford Mott, white and 3 for a 2/4 Legendary creature human soldier who looks like a bum. But anyway, look to the stars. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on Wilfred Mott, excuse me. Then look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of time counters on Wilfred Mott. You may put a non-land permanent card, mana value 3 or less from among them, onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of the random order. This is disgusting. This is another thing of free casting, and if it's not free casting anything, it's a possible land every turn for free that doesn't go against land drops. This is insanely good. This should have been a mythic. Wow, this should be in every white deck. Next we have Andy Pose offering white and 3 for a 2/2. It has emerged for a white and 5. That's very interesting. For those of you who don't know, you may cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the emerge cost reduced by the creature you sacrificed. So if you have a 5 mana cost creature, you can emerge this for 1 white instead of paying the white and 3 for whatever reason. But when it enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 white alien creature token. If it was emerged, you instead create X of those tokens, where X is the sacrificed creature's toughness. Very interesting and a great way to flood the battlefield with Furbies, basically. So, good card. Wow, that's a really good card. All right, guys, so that's all of it. Long video. Sorry it took so long. We had a lot to cover. These commander decks from the Doctor Who are insanely good and powerful, and are really going to change the commander environment. For better or for worse, well, we're going to have to wait to see. So, with all that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget, follow me on Rumble, like me on YouTube. Until next time, be kind. And as always, hope to see you across from the game table. Later, player.